Shabbat Shalom. We begin our service with the words of Ani Ve'ata, page 348. This Shabbat is the one closest to Yom HaAtzmaut, which was yesterday. However, the reason why Yom HaAtzmaut was yesterday is because we don't observe Yom HaAtzmaut on Shabbat, even though this year it actually falls on Shabbat. So tonight is in fact the 77th anniversary of the Declaration of Israel's independence. And so we'll honor that with songs and with some poetry this evening. So Ani Ve'ata, you and I can change the world. Ani Ve'ata. We turn to pages 3 and 2 in our prayer books, and I'd like to invite up, would you two be, Alice and Howard, would you be willing to light our Shabbat candles?
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Shall shine.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with his mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
At the bottom of page 13, the third line in the bottom paragraph on page 13, we have had a gorgeous week, right? Weather has been beautiful. Okay, weather-wise, yes, I understand it has been also a difficult week, but weather-wise, it's been a gorgeous week, and it has sometimes felt like the trees of the forest and even the fields are rejoicing. And so this psalm recognizes that sometimes it really feels like there is joy even in the fields, even in the woods. And so we'll sing these words, Ya'aloz Sadai, try that. Ya'aloz Sadai. V'chol asher bo.
V'chol asher bo.
Az Yiranenu.
Az Yiranenu.
Kol atzei Ya'ar.
Kol atzei Ya'ar.
Okay, so those two lines, that's the entire song. There's also a fun ay in there. Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai, Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai, Az Yiranenu kol atzei Ya'ar, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai, Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai, Az Yiranenu kol atzei Ya'ar, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai, Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai, That melody is from the group Nava Tehillah, based out of Jerusalem. We continue with the Jerusalem version of the Chadodi, pages 20 and 21. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, and on the 9th verse, rise and face the entrance to greet our Sabbath bride.
Lekadoti lekatala, yalala, 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 Neshama, Nekabala. Lekadoti lekatala, yalala, 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 Neshama, Nekabala. Shambo v'sacho b'diborecha, Adonai echad, v'shmo echad, v'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lekadoti lekatala, yalala, yalala, Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lechadodi, Lechatkala, Yalala, 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 Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lekrat Shabbat, Lakom Nelcha, Ki Mekor HaBrachot, We'us Mikedem Nesucha, Sov Ma'aseh B'machshava Sheila, Lechadodi, Lechatkala, Yalala, 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 Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lechadodi, Lechatkala, Yalala, 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 Shabbat, Kabbalah, Hitorami, Hitorami, Ki Ma'oreh, Kumi Ori, 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 Shir Daberi, Yevol Adonai, Alayim Nekbar, Lechadodi, Lechatkala, Yalala, 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 Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lechadodi, Lechatkala, Yalala, 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 Shabbat, Kabbalah, Ori v'shalom ateret balav, gam b'simcha v'tzolav, toch emunei am segula, boi kala, boi kala. Lechadodi, Lechatkala, Yalala, 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 Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lechadodi, Lechatkala, Yalala, 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 Shabbat, Kabbalah.
You may be seated. We continue with Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir, page 22.
Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Tov Lehodot Adonai, Ulezamer L'Shemcha Elyon, Ulezamer L'Shemcha Elyon. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Tov Lehodot Adonai, Ulezamer L'Shemcha Elyon, Ulezamer L'Shemcha Elyon. Le'hagid b'boker chasdecha, emunatcha b'leilot, le'asov v'aleina ve'aleina yom b'chinot. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer l'Shemcha Elyon, ulezamer l'Shemcha Elyon. Hichachtani Adonai b'folecha, b'maaseh yadecha ramen, magan lo ma'asecha Adonai, me'od kol shemoteka. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer l'Shemcha Elyon, ulezamer l'Shemcha Elyon, ulezamer l'Shemcha Elyon.
Down to the indent. Tzadik katamar yivrach, yivrach, tzadik
Katamar Yifrach,
tzadik
Katamar Yifrach, Yifrach,
tzadik
Katamar Yifrach. Eretz Balvanon Yizke, Eretz Balvanon Yizke, Eretz Balvanon Yizke, Yizke.
Adama Yifrach, Yifrach, Tzadik Adama Yifrach, Tzadik Adama Yifrach, Yifrach, Tzadik Adama Yifrach. Ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, yizkeh.
Ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh,
Ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, yizkeh. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitgadov, Yitgadosh Merhaba.
Amen.
Yamad Yivrach Yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, Makaye Konov Yomekon, Ovchaye Dekol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, Bagala, Uvisman Karim, Imaro, Amen.
Yehesh
Merhaba Mavarach, Le'alam Olam Mehamaya.
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ad v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadov, v'yitalev, v'yitalosh, meid kudashah, brichu. Leila min kol b'yikata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damira me'alma, v'imaro, amen.
Please rise in body or spirit for Baruch Hu, page 28.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated, and we are going to turn to page 347. Normally, during this part of the service, we would recite the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer and the Ahavat Olam prayer, the first talking about the wonders of creation, especially the light mixing and rolling, the light rolling from darkness to light and light to dark, and then also of the gift of Torah in Ahavat Olam. And it felt like a beautiful fit for both of those prayers is the classic Israeli song Al Kol Eleh, which can be found, like I said, on page 347, reminding us of these opposites, bitter and sweet, honey and sting, and the hope that we have that these blessings will remain with us. So if you know it, feel free to join in.
Abitenu hatinoket shmor eli hatov. Ahaesh hamahoeret, ahamayim hazakim. Ahaish hashav habayta min hamerchakim. Ahaeleh, akoheleh, shmona li eli hatov. Ahatvash le'oketz, ahamav anatah hakol natua, al tishkach et hatikva, hashivenu ve'ashuva el haaretz hatoha.
Verse 3. Merashrei Shilan Baruch, Merachok
אשר כוכב, משאלות ליבי בחושך, נרשמות עכשיו. אנא שמור לי על כל אלה, על אהובי נפשי, על השקט, על הבכי, ועל זה השיר. על כל אלה, על כל אלה, שמור נא לי אלי הטוב, הדבש והעוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על התא הכל נטוע, אל תשכח את התקווה, השיבנו ונשובה הארץ הטובה.
We continue with Shema. You may remain seated or stand as you choose. Page 32, 34. Shema
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, La'olam Amen.
You may be seated. Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Adonai Elohim, amen.
Page 41. Sing the song of all people, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam. I die 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 die, ya ba ba bim bam. I die 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 die, ya ba ba bim bam. Ni kamocha neda bakot. Ni מי כמוך נמצא בקודש, נוראתי לא תעשה פלא, נוראתי לא תעשה פלא, מלכותך רעובנך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Ba ba bim bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba bim bim bum, ya ba bim bum. I die da die die die, ya ba bim bum. I die da die die die, ya ba bim bum. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גא ישראל.
Amen. A poem by Osnat Eldar, who has been writing a number of poems, often based on liturgy and prayers, liturgy and Bible verses, who is bringing in some of the voices from Israel after October 7th. This is for 6-year-old Romy from Sderot. And only the sweet voice of a 6-year-old girl hugging her sister and asking, "Are you from Israel?" rose above the thunder of the great waters that cried out for redemption on that black Shabbat. Above the mighty breakers of the sea, the question was raised, as if surprised to have been asked at all. It broke on the shore of faith, shattered into crumbs our understanding. That God is mighty only on high. And we, shattered by the seas, remain on the scattered shore to collect the voices, to cradle, to console, to offer shelter, clothing, and food, to join crumb to crumb, to build a loving, faithful palace for a 6-year-old orphan who is hugging her sister, and her question cracks the foundational covenant between humans and God, between humans and state. And as we think of the words of Hashkivenu on page 43, transitioning from the shores of the sea into the wilderness and the fear that's in the wilderness, we offer, give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Vishamru, page 44.
Shalom b'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם לברית עולם. Nehi uven b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Nehi uven b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai,
Et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, u'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat, Shabbat vayikra. Please rise in body or spirit for the Amidah, page 46.
Adonai sepatai tiftach ufia gita ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Gibor v'Norah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Yomei Vigula Lifnei V'nechem, L'man Shamo ve'ahava, Melech Hoser u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Morid HaTov. Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim. Tomek Noflim V'Rofech Cholim, U'Matir Asuvim, U'Mekayem Emunato L'Ishen Le'acha, Mikamocha B'Gvuro, U'Midom Elach, Melech Me'mito Mekayeh, U'Matzmeach Yeshua, B'nei Amanatah L'Hakayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue with our private prayers. When you've finished with your prayers, you may be seated. 349 if you would like the words. Many of us hold in our hearts prayers of healing for those in need of healing of mind, of body, of spirit. So I invite you to say the names of those you're thinking of on this Shabbat.
Alan,
The family of Jeff Brown.
We also think of blessings and moments of gratitude from the past week. I know that especially after the death of such a beloved member of our community, it can sometimes feel challenging to find those moments of gratitude, but it's also important, I think, for us to remember that, like we sang earlier, there is bitter and sweet that come together.
Well, I was really appreciating the sun today because we've been to burials when it was really, really raining. So thanks for the sun. And I'm really excited to start planting my vegetable garden. Yes,
Hi, Sarah here, and was really excited because my daughter's nanny couldn't make it yesterday, and so I got to watch my granddaughter Talia for part of the day, and she smiled and laughed at me, especially when I did peekaboo. So I just want you to know she was really fun.
Our little grandson was singing along with a tape of Hebrew songs. I was just amazed because he's only 3, and he was just singing with the singer on the tape. It was fantastic.
Yuval turned 5. Well, he's not here, so he won't actually hear it. And when I tried to sing him Happy Birthday, and then the Israeli version of Happy Birthday, which is not Yom Huledet Sameach, but like the Israeli Hayom Yom Huledet, he put his hand over my mouth and told me to not say those words because he's still 4. So I think that in his mind, he didn't turn 5 until his birthday party, which was this morning. So when he woke up on his birthday, he was like, but it's not my party yet, therefore I'm not 5. Yeah, now he's one whole hand old. For all these blessings and more, we say, Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are deserving of thanksgiving. Well, we are in everyone's favorite Torah portion. Any dermatologists in the room? This is Parshat Tazria Mitzorah, which begins with some laws about purity and really impurity following the birth of a child, and then goes into a whole series of laws about skin afflictions and ailments, which are all generally fall under the Hebrew category of tzara'at, but dermatologists have spent an extensive amount of time trying to figure out what these diseases are and have maybe come up with a bunch of different categories of what tzara'at might be, except that, and the religious school kids discovered this on Sunday, that unlike most skin afflictions, which just affect the skin, tzara'at can also affect your clothing and your buildings. It is weird. And they were like, but it can't really be a skin infection if it can also infect clothing and walls. And I was like, I get that. But the Torah says otherwise. And I mentioned this last night at our dialogue, interfaith dialogue. But the word for a person with tzara'at, with this infection, affliction, is called a mitzorah. Mitzorah. Like if you look on your not quite order of worship, the second word, mitzorah. And the rabbis say that that word is actually an acronym. Not just a word itself, but an acronym for Motzi Shem Ra. Who remembers what Motzi means? Because we say it in the Motzi all the time. Brings forth, good. So who brings out? Shem, name, Ra, bad, evil. Who brings forth an evil name or a bad name. In other words, someone who gives someone else a bad name. Which is what we do when we tell people how much we are annoyed with someone else or how much we think that something someone said is stupid, or when we call each other names, things like that, right? The power of speech is very significant. And the rabbis understand, given that Mitzorah is the acronym for Motzi Shem Ra, and also a story in Numbers with Miriam and Aaron speaking, we assume badly, about Moses' wife, that Tzara'at is the punishment for Lashon Hara, evil speech. Lashon Hara. How many of you have heard, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Don't say anything at all. I mean, Thumper says don't say nothing at all, but, or think before you speak, right? We're given all sorts of reminders from a young age about how we speak. And I think in our own day, we could spend a lot of time talking about what it means to speak appropriately about other people. But especially today, given how much love and how many beautiful words were said about Jim, and just how wonderful a person he was and how much so many people loved him, I've also been thinking about a book that I got when I was in like 6th grade. It was the Chabad version of Babysitter's Club called the BY Times. My aunt sent it to me as a birthday gift. And I only have one of the series, but I'm sure that there were plenty of them. And it's about a group of girls at an all-girls school who have a newspaper club, and they are trying to find something to put in the newspaper, and they discover that one of their teachers during the Holocaust was not Jewish, but was one of the righteous Gentiles who saved Jews. And so they think it's going to be this great article in the paper. Look at how awesome their teacher is. And they put it in the paper, and the teacher does not come to school the next day. She is so embarrassed. Even talking about, and the whole book is all about how even saying really nice things about someone can be really dangerous. In part because it could be embarrassing to the person. She didn't want anybody to know that she had converted to Judaism. She didn't want to be honored for doing the right thing, even though so many people were not doing the right thing that it was so unusual to have someone who was. And we also have rabbinic text that talks about how we're not even supposed to say how great a meal was at someone's house. How many of you have ever said, oh, I had this amazing dinner at so-and-so's house? Of course, it sounds like a great compliment. Why would the rabbis say that that's not a good thing to say? Because Maybe the person you're talking to has never been invited to so-and-so's house. And now they feel like they've been left out. Or maybe that person that you're talking to was invited to that person's house, and the meal wasn't that good. Or maybe now this person is the person whose house you had dinner at is going to get a reputation of making such incredible meals that if someone else goes there and it's not so good, they're going to be embarrassed for not having lived up to expectations. What was that? How will I mean, look, it could be that someone says that it's not a great meal, or maybe the praise isn't as effusive, or they taste it and they're like, ooh, this is not my best meal, right? We don't know, but it puts a lot of pressure on someone if they're expected to be really good at something, right? And so the rabbis caution us not to even use our words to talk too positively about someone. It's different when it's a eulogy. And it's different when you're talking to the person directly. But it's more of a statement about how much of what we say is actually not about us, actually not about the person we are talking to, but about someone else who's not part of the conversation. How much of what we say is gossip or storytelling or something else that might actually get us into trouble if we say it. I heard today that there's a group of friends that has a rule about certain stories. There's a 5-year rule, a 10-year rule, and a never rule. The 5-year rule is 5 years after the event, you can tell the story about what happened. The 10-year rule, 10 years after an event, you can finally tell the story of what happened. Enough time has passed that it won't be so embarrassing. And then there are those stories that should never be told, ever again. Those are the stories that when I'm meeting with families, people usually talk around, and then I'm like, come on, you have to tell me the story now. But they can cause pain, they can cause embarrassment, they can cause harm, whether we are talking positively or negatively. And so on this Shabbat of Tazria Metzora, I invite you to think about how you are speaking, to avoid bringing forth a bad name, not just when you are actually talking poorly about someone, but how you might bringing about a bad name when you are talking positively. And may we all use our words to bring blessing and goodness into the world. Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to invite up Aaron Peterson, secretary of our board, for a very short time longer.
Time left, yeah. Well, short time left on the board. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, as secretary, yeah. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I think I get a moment. I just, while I was sitting back at the soundboard, I had these stories that brought Jim to mind, of course. You don't realize how much he played in the getting that together, because he was always the one when we're first putting it together. I would get like 3 texts in the middle of the service, like this sound needs to go up, this sound needs to go down. It was just kind of funny. It's like, yeah, Jim, I got it. But it was like so instrumental, and I just have to laugh now. And he played a big part in making sure that got together. And then, Jim, I have to apologize to you. I know you say the board member should always be sitting up here, but I have the excuse that I'm sitting at a soundboard. But thank you so much. But get on to the announcements, of course. One thing I say for those who are here for the first time, or we frequently here, but you're not getting these things. 2 ways to get it. Shabbat Shalom email goes out every week, Thursday. We have the bulletin that goes out. If you're not receiving those, or this is the first time you're hearing that, please contact the office during the regular work week to get those, and those will go out. Coming up on next Thursday is the speaker series. Take a look at that. Of course, really compelling Nancy Koppelman, a professor of American Studies and Humanities at Evergreen State College. But I think this will be a really interesting topic, the relationship between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. So just a really interesting one to take a look at. And then, of course, on Wednesday, I want to point out, I think there's still time to register for this, because it was on my list to do, but I haven't done it yet. The Associated Ministries Lead the Way home breakfast is on Wednesday morning. And make sure if you do register to put down Temple Bethel. You'll be kind of sitting with other Temple Bethel people. And then kind of moving back, let's do the other one kind of brought to mind. I want to point this out. If you are available on Saturday, May 10th, so there is a kind of a tour of sacred spaces going on Tacoma and Temple Bethel being one of them. Please contact Rabbi Gorban. We're still taking people to that. If you're interested in showing people our home, our temple, and the spaces in here, that will again take place Saturday, May 10th, 1 to 4. And kind of going again a little bit later, so this will be Sunday, May 18th. You'll see on there is a save the date. This is the Temple Bethel barbecue. That's also the last day of religious school, so join our religious school families in a barbecue. And if you really want a long day, and we'll need at least 50 of you that are members to stick around after that, we do have the annual congregational meeting. That will be at 1:30. That information did go out this week about attending that, but in person or Zoom. Again, we need 50 people, and that will be at 1:30. But come for the barbecue, stay for the fun. And I'll let you talk about the World Zionist Congress election.
Yes, this is the last weekend of the World Zionist Congress elections. Anyone who hasn't heard about the World Zionist Congress yet? Right, and is willing to admit it. World Zionist Congress is a group of about 550 Jews from around the world who will meet in Jerusalem and set priorities for the main national institutions. These are non-governmental organizations that used to actually run the structure of pre-state Israel and now still have significant force in Israeli policy, and also have about $1 billion per year over the course of 5 years of funds to direct. And I am on slate number 3, the vote reform slate. I'm also really far down the list, and so I really need a lot of people to vote for vote reform slate so that I can go be part of the World Zionist Congress. So if you haven't voted yet, just so you know, there is a $5 fee per person in order to vote. That is to ensure that there is no fraud, which has actually turned out to be very helpful because there has been, which they've found because the credit card numbers going through showed it. So that's why we have to do it. But we are up against some slates that clearly are trying to win in inappropriate ways, who also want to reject Reform Jews as legitimate Jews at all, to make our conversions here ineligible for Aliyah to Israel, who want to continue to build settlements in the West Bank, people who are very much about wiping out the Arab population from the land and taking over even more. Not things that the Reform Movement stands for, which are equality for everybody regardless of gender, equality for everyone regardless of religion, equality for everyone regardless of national origin, as well as all sorts of things, including making sure that the internal security is strong enough so that we're not always worried about external security, and so on. Could tell you much more, but we are down to the wire. The vote ends May 4th. So please, if you have not voted yet, there are computers out in front to help you do so. You can also use the QR code and do it from your phone. But I hope you all take time to vote. Okay, we are going to turn to page 278. As I mentioned earlier, we are in the period of the Omer, as we watch the sheaves of barley grow. And we join together, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer, hayom esrim yom shehem shnei shavuot v'shisha yamim la'omer. Today is the 20th day, which is 2 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. We continue with Aleinu, page 282. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'anton hakol,
Tek gdula yotze breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'kol hamonam, v'anachnu koreim u'mishtakavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu yehyeh Adonai echad. O Shamo, O Shamo, O Shamo Echad.
I also want to make sure to thank people who made sure that our service happened today. So especially our Shir Simcha choir, who got a lot of this music on Wednesday. They did an amazing job. Thank you also to Aaron for running tech, and I'm not sure who was at the front this evening, but thank you, Jeff. What? Okay, that's what I was about to say. Thank you, Jeff Friedman, for being at the door probably most of the day today. Thank you, Brad and Debbie, as well. As we turn to the mourners' Kaddish, we think of those who have died in past days and weeks. If I say the name of someone you are remembering, I invite you to rise so we can acknowledge you as a mourner. We think especially of Jim Friedman, past Temple president and husband of Lynn Spellman, and also brother of Paul and Linda. You're welcome to rise if you'd like. We are in the period of Shoshim for Michael William Goodman, the brother of Karen Seinfeld. And we remember those who died at this time in years past, whose yahrzeits occur in the coming week. Again, if I say the name of someone you're remembering, I invite you to rise. We think of Lucille Aqua, Friedrich Ashkenazi, Morley Brotman, Amelie Bookbinder, Janny Crody, Mark Joshua Eisen, Anne Lillian Kartzman, George Levine, Sid Lockitch, Max Mayer, Grace Paul, Seraphima Rappaport, Alan Raymond, Nathan Robinson, Alice Rosenthal, Barbara Rosenthal, Jerry Rubenstein, Bill Schumer, Lena Kosakoff-Slotnick, Irma Volk, Jay Wax, Martha Webb, Rita Winkler, and Fabius Fev Wittenberg. As we think of them, we say Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing. And we rise to join our mourners so that no mourner has to stand alone. As we offer the mourners Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal, Yitgadal, Shemei Rabba, Bel Na'am Tivrach, Yotei, Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon, Uv'yomechon, Uv'chayei, B'kol Beit Yisrael, V'alav V'zman Karev V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shema Rabba, V'rach L'olam L'amei Amaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yita'ar V'yitramam V'yinaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shnei Kedusha V'riku, Le'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechamata, Damiram Yalma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom Yirma, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru Amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as together we say, Amen. I am going to ask you to remain standing as you are able for a concluding song, page 374. In American tradition, we usually start off with our national anthem. In Israeli tradition, they usually end with the national anthem. So we'll conclude our service this evening with Hatikva. Did not make it here, although I know that the challah was thawing. We can at least have some manischewitz, woohoo!
Oh, joy. Oh.
That would be great, David, thank you.
That's all right.
But I am not going to share this with our kids. So Sarah, sorry. That came out much faster than I was anticipating.
Shake
No. He calls seltzer water spicy water, so. Because we're uncovering